Today's lesson, section 11.3b, we're talking about hyperbolas. So example 2 wants us to be able to write the equation or find the equation for a hyperbola that satisfies the given conditions. So here you're given the vertex and the focus. So that means that you're given the a value. So the a value must be 2, because it's right there. And then c is given in the foci, so that must mean that c is 3. So then using your Pythagorean identity of c squared equals a squared plus b squared, so then that means that 3 squared is going to be 9 equals a squared, which is 4, plus b squared. Subtract both sides by 4. That gives me 5. So then, knowing that now, you can plug this into your formula. So remember that for this one, a squared is always the first one. So that means that we have 4 squared, or a squared, which is 4, and the first one. And then b squared is 5, so that's the second one. Now we just need to figure out which one's first, x squared or y squared. So because both the a and the c are aligned on the x part of their points, that means that your transverse axis is along the x-axis. So that means x squared must be first and y squared must be second. So there's your equation. Okay. Letter B gives you a vertex, and then it gives you your asymptotes. So that means that a must be 4. And then remember that because your a value's in the y position, that means that y squared's first. So let's put that up before we move forward. And that means x squared's second. So you got that part ready to go. Now that also tells us that the asymptotes are going to be oriented a certain way. So because your transverse axis is on the y-axis, that means that for this to be correct asymptote ratio for your slope, you go up a to get to the vertice or vertex, and then go over b. So then the ratio should be a over b times x. So for this one, we know that a is 4. So to make it 4x, it needs to be 4 over 1. So that means b must equal 1. So then when I plug these in, a squared will be 16, and then b squared will be 1. And there's my equation. Okay. Now you're also going to be given some pictures or some graphs. So for letter C, you can't really see it there. Kind of marked over it. Okay. So it looks like from the graph you're given the foci and the vertices. So it looks like the vertices are going to be plus or minus 4, 0, and the foci, as you can see, are plus or minus 6, 0. So also you're given that because you have the foci and vertex on the transverse axis of the x-axis, that means x squared must be first. So let's write our equation down here. So x squared minus y squared equals 1. So now I know that my a squared is 16 because a is 4. Okay, now I just need to find what my b squared is. So I'm given the c value, which is 6. So let's plug that into our formula. So 6 squared should be 36, and that equals 16 plus b squared. So now subtract 16 to both sides. So that gives me 20. And so now I'll just insert that in, and I've got my equation for this hyperbola. Okay, let's go back to letter D. Here, it looks like you're given your vertices. And so it looks like it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So plus or minus 6. And then you're also given the asymptotes of 2x, plus or minus for both. So for this one, that means your a value is 6. Now, like we were talking before, because you're going up to your vertices, so that means it's a for your ratio here, and then over b. Okay, so then you know that A is 6, okay? So you don't know what B is, but you need to make it so it's 2 to 1, 2 over 1 to make it fit these asymptotes. So then B must be a value that divides 6 to make it 2. So then 6 divided by 3 would be the correct value. So now, because your transverse axis is on the y-axis, you would have a y squared minus an x squared is equal to 1, and then that means that a squared is going to be 36, and then b squared will be 9. And there's my equation. Okay? Have fun.